Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is Craig from At Home with Craig, and it is Saturday, June 18th, as I'm recording this. So hopefully you'll get this in time. If not, then I will wish you a belated Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, all the guys who step up and do the things that need to be done no matter what, no matter how much recognition you get or don't. I don't want to get into anything that's too personal, but I've been there where I felt like no matter what I did, I wasn't doing enough, or I wasn't home enough, or I wasn't whatever enough. So I get it. I do. I understand exactly what you're going through. And often it sucks. We do all these things and no one appreciates it, but hey, you're a guy, you're a dude, you're a man. Step up, you know, as one of my siblings used to say, take off the skirt, Nancy, and just man up. And that's what we do as dads. We man up. We do things that we don't want to do. And do we fall short? Absolutely, we fall short. There's only one perfect father in existence, and that's the big man upstairs. He's the only one that's ever been perfect. So if you're feeling like you're not perfect, I get it. I do understand. I've been there. I think we've all been there, where you feel like no matter what, you do all these things and you bust your hump and you say, all right, well, that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. But I think as dads, as fathers, as that male role model figure in a young person's life, I think we need to keep going. And we need to instill and impart upon our young charges all the things that are good and healthy and wholesome in the world, and not so much dwelling on the bad stuff. Is there bad stuff in the world? Is there evil in the world? Absolutely there is. There's a lot of evil in the world, and I think it's getting worse as time marches on. I think the longer we go and the further we go into the future, the worse it's going to be, the worse it's going to get. And there's not much we can do about it. It's just how it is. Until Christ comes back, this is what we're dealing with. So I think it's important that we step up as warriors. I think it's important that we step up as the shield bearers and shield our children from as much of this evil crap as we can. We can't shield them from everything evil. And I think we shouldn't shield them from ever knowing that there's evil in the world, because that sets them up for failure. And that's not a good thing either. That's not our job. We shouldn't set our kids up to fail, ever. We should build them up to succeed, to do better than we've ever done, to do things we never even dreamt of or conceived of, or to just keep going and do better than we did. You know, it's different from generation to generation. It was different from how my grandfather treated my dad, how my dad treated us, how I treated my kids, and how, if my kids ever have kids of their own, how they're going to treat them. It's an entirely different world now. And I think a lot of it has to do with that argument about nurture versus nature. I think nature sets us up for certain things, but I don't think that means that we need to be predisposed to a certain outcome of things. I don't think that, well, you're the son of this person, so this is going to be your lot in life. I don't believe that. I think you should encourage your kids to do more and to do better, and just treat them better than you may have been treated. I don't know your situation, only you do. No one knows better than you and God what you went through, but I don't think that's a reason to continue that cycle. I think we need to step up and break all those cycles and stop all the things that we did that we didn't like or we didn't agree with. When I raised my kids, I went the opposite way of how I was raised. I was probably far too lenient, far too, I don't want to say far too nice, because you should always be nice to your children, but I was a lot more lenient than I was treated, and I think that can be detrimental as well if it's not done well. I don't think you should go to opposite excuse me, I don't think you should go to opposite extremes. I think you should find that happy balance somewhere and just do the best you can. If you need help, I know it's tough for guys, for dudes and bros, to reach out for help, but I think you absolutely should. I think if you're struggling, I think if you're in pain, especially emotionally or mentally, that you should absolutely seek out help for that, because dealing with it on your own is not a good thing. Now, as a dude, you're raised to think, all right, you're a man, be a man, toughen up, don't let anyone ever see any weakness. And I think that in itself is a weakness. The fact that you can't be yourself, the fact that you must fix everything on your own as a guy, whether it's your car or your VCR or whatever it is, go in the backyard and build a shed for yourself on your own because you don't need no help because you're a man. I'm not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with that mindset. Be a dude, be a dude's dude, be as manly as you want to be, but realize at the end of the day that you need to step up and be the best person you can be, not only for yourself but for your children. And children mimic what they see. Little kids want to do what they see daddy doing. If daddy's working out the garden, then the kid wants to be out there playing in the dirt and gardening with daddy. If the kid sees daddy working on the car, then the kid's going to want to be out there and working on the car with daddy. I hate to use the phrase monkey see, monkey do, but that's essentially what it is. So if you're one that is given to a lot of cursing and saying things that you shouldn't say around children, guess what? The little parrot in the back seat is going to hear you cuss out that driver or that person on the street or whatever. They're going to hear this, and before you know it, you're going to be hearing those same words coming from the back seat. Sure, a lot of people think it's funny and it's cute, and it's not. It's really not. I did it, and I regret doing it, and I wish I would have been better about it. But my kids learned a lot of their vocabulary from me because I wasn't thinking. I was reacting instead of acting, and I said things that I shouldn't have said, and they heard things that they definitely should not have heard at that age in their lives. Even as adults, I hear children and parents cursing one another out, and I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand it. I don't understand why that's a thing. A lot of it has to do with how they were raised or how you were raised or whatever. So I'm asking you, try and watch what you say to your kids or say around your kids. If you say bad things about your spouse, they're going to pick up on that. If your spouse says bad things about you, they're going to pick up on that. It's the way they're built. It's the way they're wired. It's not a good thing, really. It's just not. So I want you to know that dads are appreciated. I want the moms out there to know that they should appreciate the dads in their lives, whether it's the father of their children or their own dads or whatever. Most of us are out here doing the best we can with the information and the tools we were given. Some people stick in that and they never try to improve. Other people take what they were given and they build upon it and they try to be better. And that's what I've been doing for a long time now. Do I fall short? Absolutely. Every day I fall short of where I think I should be. And that's not anything that God is saying to me or society is saying to me. This is my own test, my own walk with God, my own life, where I need to be better and I need to do better things and I need to talk better and speak better. So I've tried to cut out a lot of the language that I learned both growing up and language that I learned in the workforce and definitely language that I learned while in the Navy. Sailors are potty mouths. There's no two ways about that. I read a joke recently about, people say that you cuss like a sailor. No. You cuss like me. I'm a sailor, ergo I'm a role model. I guess in a way that's kind of funny, and I guess in a way it's true that sailors are role models as far as talking like a sailor goes, because I was there and I did it, and I know a lot of people that did it. And let me tell you, there are very few people in the world that are more creative than someone in the Navy or in the military in general that can string a line of curses together that shouldn't necessarily go together in a really creative way. And most of the time you're taken aback and you're saying, wow, I would have never thought of that sentence combination, but good for you. You did it. So congratulations. I'm happy for you, kind of thing. It's just the way we are. It's the way and even that, in a way, it's the way that sailors are raised up, from the little boot camp dudes all the way up to the people leading other people. It's all in how we're raised. It's all in how we're treated. So there was a saying in the Navy, you were assigned to a new command, a new ship, a new sub, a new whatever. And they always took a senior guy and assigned you to him. And that became your sea daddy. And he taught you all the things that you should know. He taught you how to act. He told you when to show up for meals. He taught you where to work. He taught you what to do. If you had any issues, whether it be with the equipment you're working on or just life in general, you were supposed to be able to go to him and talk to him as if he were your real father and just be able to move on with life, and he would help you out. And I think as much in the Navy as in real life, I think a lot of us need that sea daddy thing or some kind of father figure, because as much as society and as much as Hollywood wants to demean us and debase us and lower us, if you look at modern TV, the father's usually an idiot or a moron or stupid in some way, and he's the butt of the joke all the time. And I think that's ridiculous. And I think that as dads, you and I both need to step up and reclaim what it means to be a great father, and to stop letting Hollywood tell people what we are and who we are, because that's not us. Are there dumb dads out there? Absolutely. Just as much as there are dumb mothers and dumb kids and dumb aunts and uncles and everything else out there. There are dumb, moronic people in the world, and there's nothing we can do about that. They're going to be with us forever. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. But I don't think that means that we need to accept that. And I don't think it means that we need to just act the way that Hollywood wants us to act, because people will think a dad is supposed to act a certain way, and when he doesn't, that makes them uncomfortable. And it makes them feel awkward, and sometimes it makes them feel bad because maybe he is acting better than the person is that's accusing him of all these things. And I don't think that's right either. I think you should act in a way that makes other people look up to you, in a way that makes other people stop and think about, hey, it's really cool how this guy is doing these things, and I want to be more like that. And I'm not saying that every dad is perfect. Far from it. I've known a lot of crappy dads. I've known a lot of crappy fathers. And yes, father and dad are often synonymous with one another, and I get that, but I would rather be a dad than a father. A father, to me, is someone who provided genetic material to make you. A dad also did that, but he took it many steps further in raising you and taking care of you and teaching you and doing all these things that a father should do. I see so many absentee parents, not just dads, although we often get the rap for being the one who's absentee. And in some cases, yes, it was done because they wanted to do it. And there are many cases, believe it or not, where the mother of the children has made it so untenable for that person that he just said, to hell with it, I'm out, I'm gone. Whatever the situation is, now he's no longer in the picture, and kids need a father figure, they need a mother figure to raise them. One parent alone, I get it that you sometimes have to do that. It's not ideal, and you just suck it up and you do it and you move on and you raise your kids. But I honestly believe that kids need a positive male role figure in their life. I'm not trying to take away from moms. I'm not trying to denigrate them in any way. But there are things that mothers can teach, and there are things that fathers can teach. Because we all have our own life experiences, and we all have our own whatevers that make us who we are. And I think that if you have something positive or something good and wholesome, then absolutely impart that upon your children as often as you can. Be frequent about it. Be consistent about it. Don't halfway it. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Stand firm in your convictions. Stand firm in defending your children. I think you should always defend your children no matter how old they are. If there's breath left in your lungs and there's life left in your body, then you defend those children until your very last breath. Do they all deserve it? Probably not. I'm not in that situation. I'm not here to judge. As I often say, that's not my story to tell. And when people talk about me, I will correct them and say, that's not your story. It's mine. Only I can tell it. Can you relay it in some way? Absolutely you can. You can confer and you can relay things that you hear, but that's going to be colored by your own perception, by your own experiences. No matter how pure we try to be and how realistic we try to be, we're always colored by our past. We're colored by our prejudices, which I think also come from our past and how we were raised. And I know that I've changed in so many ways. I don't do, all this will be uncomfortable to hear, I don't do the porn thing anymore. And I've changed the TV shows I watch. If it's not something edifying to me, is it funny? Sure. But if it makes me feel uncomfortable, that's my psyche's way or my consciousness way of telling me that there's something wrong with this and I shouldn't be watching it. Maybe it's God whispering in my ear. I don't know. But I know that there are shows that I used to enjoy that I can't watch now because I'm not that person. I've grown. And I'm not saying that I'm better than you because I don't watch them, or you're better than me because you do watch them. That's not what I'm trying to say here at all. I'm speaking solely for myself and strictly about my own experiences, where there are shows that it used to be funny, now it's not. Or even comedy. Comedy has gotten worse and worse about the language that they use. Are they still funny? Sure. Many comics are brilliant, wickedly funny. And I can't watch them because of how they talk. I'm not comfortable with it. I don't enjoy it. So I would rather turn off the TV and read a book or do something else rather than subject myself to that. And I would like to think that that's something that maybe you as a father could do, because going back to what I said a few minutes ago, your children are going to mimic and parrot what you do. So if your kid sees you watching racy television or television that's nothing but like nonstop blue streak cursing, then they're going to watch the same things you do because they see you laughing about it and they see you enjoying it. So they're going to think, okay, well, this is great. Dad's doing it, so it must be okay for me to do it. And I'm not saying that as your kids grow up, they can't take on more things of the world and they can't experience more things. But at that point, it's their choice to do that. And I fully believe that people should be given a certain amount of leeway of free choice and free will, because God does. God gives us free will to do what we want. And ultimately, we have to answer to Him for whatever it was we did. So I think that you should teach your children all the good things that you can. Give them all the tools and all the materials and all the resources that they need. And always, always, always keep that door open if they want to come back. Never, ever close the door on a child, because once you do, you may not be able to reopen it. You may lose the key, the lock may stick, the door may be barred from the other side, and the kid doesn't want to come back. So I always told my children, no matter what they did, no matter where I was, they always had that opportunity to come back home or to come back to me. I would never shut them out. And honestly, I've thought about it, and I can't think of a single scenario where I would ever tell my child, no, I'm done with you. And I hope that they would feel the same way about me. No matter what I do, I will always be their father. I raised them to the best of my ability, and I sent them out into the world as much as I could and said, here you go, it's your turn now. Now you have to do it. You have to learn these things. You have to live your life. So in closing, thank you to all the dads out there. I wish you the happiest of Father's Day. I hope it's a great one. And I want to part with a Bible verse. And it's from Psalm 32:8. It says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. And I think that closes out my episode perfectly. So I'm going to leave it with that. As always, thanks for listening. Thank you for being here. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share the link with your friends and family so they can get something out of it too. As always, this is just my 2 cents worth. Your mileage may vary. I have been Craig, at home with Craig. God bless, and I love you all.